Just a quick greeting for everyone. You might be rounding out the end of your day. You may be in the middle of your day, maybe beginning your day. So just a quick hello. And I'll just ask, are we ready to begin? It's 4:03. It looks like a quorum. We're good? Okay, so we are recording this session. So as we use the chat and give our greetings to each other, I would like to officially welcome everyone to our last Conscious Capitalism of Central Maryland event of this year. And this is also happens to be our last Conscious Cocktails event of the year, unless we get really excited today and we decide to have an impromptu Conscious Cocktails before the end of the year. So I'd like to welcome everyone for joining us today and taking some time out of your busy day as we prepare for the holidays to spend some time with us. I'm Ebony Adams Monk, for those of you who don't know me, the president of C3MD, Conscious Capitalism of Central Maryland. And our organization is proud to promote the philosophy of conscious capitalism in the Central Maryland area. So higher purpose, stakeholder orientation, conscious leadership, conscious culture. And as we get started today, and I don't want to take too much time because we have a really good event planned for you today, and I am prepared for, I didn't get tissues, but I feel like I need to be prepared with some tissue, and because I have a feeling that we may journey between laughter and maybe some tears and who knows what else today during our session. So before we get started, I would like to thank our sponsors for today's session. Thank you to Ortis Academy that offers financial literacy services for clients. Kevin T. Howard, CPA. There's so many letters behind here. PFSPA. Certified Public Accountant, Registered Investment Advisor, and the Wendy Slaughter team of Elevate Real Estate Brokerage firm on the buy side or selling side. So thank you so much to our sponsors. We value you and appreciate your participation in sponsoring today's event. And so with that, I'm going to turn this over to someone else. Is it Tanya?
Tanya.
Good. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ebony. And I also would like to welcome our sponsors, and I'd like to welcome our members. And if you're new here, I'd like to welcome you too. So as Ebony said, Conscious Capitalism is a group of business owners and other individuals who are committed to doing good while doing well in their businesses. And we've had a very, this year has been a lot for a lot of reasons, but I feel like our group has really pulled together and done some great programming and great events for our members and for our community at large. We were able to pull together a 5-week series on the pillars of conscious capitalism, and we have a lot of great programming planned for 2021, and actually I'm going to tease some of that tonight too. If you're curious about our organization, there are a lot of benefits to becoming a member of Conscious Capitalism. You can list your business on our website where you can be listed among the other people who have embraced Conscious Capitalism. We offer discounted member rates for events like this and other things that we might be doing. There's access to the curated content around Conscious Capitalism. We can allow you to use the Conscious Capitalism logo on your website and also promote your events on our social media platforms. We have quite a wide reach of other like-minded business owners and individuals. And you may know that Conscious Capitalism has traditionally been the organizing sponsor for Ignite Howard County. That did not happen for 2020, but we have a lot of hopes for what might happen next year. I'm happy to announce that in January, we also are having a Conscious Cocktails star with our Speakers will be addressing diversity, equity, and inclusion. Danielle Marshall and Wendy Muma. If you'd like to save the date, 1/19/2020 at 4 p.m. is going to be our next Conscious Cocktails, a great way to kick off 2021. Hope that it's a great year. I'm going to put in the chat the website for our website, and then also my own contact information. If you have any questions at all about membership, please contact me. We're going to be doing a membership drive all year long, so please just let me know if you have any questions. And I'm excited to hear all the stories today. And be sure to stick to the end. I hear there's a really great video coming up. And I'm going to throw this over to Tracy Turner.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Ebony. Welcome, everyone, to Surviving 2020. Tell us your story. Full disclosure, sometimes my inexpensive laptop gets unstable. So if my video goes dark, I can still see you, but we'll keep moving the conversation along. I love Conscious Cocktails. They're sort of a more informal gathering of folks who support the pillars of conscious capitalism. And I see a lot of friendly faces here. I also want to welcome Shelley and Buffy and our mystery phone caller. I guess we'll just call you 917. How about that? But please introduce yourself in the chat. If you haven't been to one of our events before, I'm going to kick it off. The concept behind tonight's event was for the last 9 months, we have all struggled individually and collectively and within our families and our organizations to literally survive 2020. It's been a year with an onslaught of pandemic and racial tension and probably the nuttiest election that I've ever witnessed in my 57 odd years on this planet, and I've witnessed a few. And we wanted to honor really the different systems that everyone has used, put into place, incorporated within their family or within their work environment, just to help you get through, whether it's on a daily basis or if it's, you know, just at the end of the day, how you and your family collectively get together and big general sigh of relief. So there's no holds barred, there's no wrong answers, there's nothing inappropriate, hopefully, that you'll be sharing with us today. And I'm going to start. I have two cats who are scrambly cats, and they didn't really want to be on screen today, but they gave me a lot of pleasure this year. In addition to my son George, who's 23, he quarantined with me, still is with me, and he's such a blessing to me. He has the best attitude about everything, and I tend to get dark sometimes, and it could be a facial expression or something that I say, and he'll capture it and he'll bring it to my attention and lift me up. And he does this every day, unfortunately, but he's really good at it. And again, I'm just so grateful for him, and I love him very much. But the one thing that has consistently gotten me through these last 9 months is reading. And so this is sort of a story. Mostly I read at night before I go to sleep, and that often entails me going to sleep by 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, so I can get my reading in. And I have a special pair of glasses that I wear when I read in bed, and I don't know if you can tell, but they only have the one band here. I intentionally broke it off so I could put my glasses on and then lean down in my pillow, and then I wouldn't get any marks on my face. So it's genius. I think it's genius. And usually I read with my Kindle. It's an Amazon Fire, and I went back through the different resources I use for downloading books, and it might be Hoopla or Overdrive or Amazon Reads, Goodreads. And since March 15th of 2020, I have read over 92 books. I have 3 in my arsenal that I'm working on right now. And one of my favorite things to do is find subject matter, usually historical, nonfiction. And I'll read about something, so for example, Henry VIII. And I'm so captured by the characters in that true story that I will go back and find fiction You know, some of them are bodice rippers, I must confess, but I'll read about all the wives, all of their courts. I'll go down into France and figure out what happened there. I'll go down into Spain and find out why Catherine of Aragon got such a raw deal. And this is the third component of what got me through 2020. It's a National Geographic that my father gave me, rest in peace, back in 1980. And it has really bad map information, especially if you're looking at the Middle East. But my favorite thing to do was to find a story that has, you know, specific geographical components on it, and I'll read about them, and I'll find them on the map, and I'll go into the cities and look at that. And so yes, I'm a nerd, but it's brought me so much great pleasure this year, and I'm really happy to share that with you today. And now, if you have any questions, you can ask me in the chat or interrupt me. I think probably our next best step would be to invite our sponsors to share what got them through 2020 this year. And I am going to pick on Kevin Howard first because he has the most letters in his sponsorship name.
So Kevin, before you, I'm going to give you a moment to think, because I can see the surprise in your eyes. You're like, I need 2 minutes to gather my thoughts. And there's a question that came through in the chat for Tracy. This is from Wendy Muma. Of all the 92 books you've read, what would you recommend?
Wow. So I go by author rather than books, and one of my favorite authors, and I did revisit a lot of authors that I have read throughout the years, and Jane Smiley is one of my favorite authors, and she wrote a book called Horse Heaven many years ago, and it's about all the horse racing that happens in April, the Preakness, the Breeders' Cup, Kentucky Derby, and I forget what the trifecta was, but I try and read that book every year around the horse racing. It's wonderful. It's about 7 different stories intertwined. One of the stories within the book is from the horse's point of view, which is, you know, who knew a horse could write, really? So I recommend that. Very much. So go for the Jane Smiley Horse Heaven. Thanks, Wendy. Great question.
And Shelley asked a question about what everyone's drinking. So Shelley, I have red wine. I did a virtual wine tasting last night. So this is some wine that I have left over, but people are drinking tea. Somebody's drinking water. I think I heard big glass of water. Smoothies, everyone's welcome here. Whatever your flavor, it's all good.
Great. Thanks, Ebony. You're very good at moderating. I should just turn the mic back over to you. Sorry.
We're turning this over to Kevin. All right, Kevin, it's on you.
Thank you. The first thing I'm going to thank, or first person I'm going to thank, excuse me, is Tanya, because she gave me at least a little heads up to expect this question. And the first thing that I'm going to attribute to surviving COVID and what we've been through is C3MD. I think I shared one time in one of our business meetings that there was a time in my life I was actually thinking of just quitting it all and moving on, and it was C3MD that helped me move past that point. No person per se. It's not like, oh God, I went to the bar and cried on somebody's shoulder or anything like that. That's not my style. My style is to process hey, I was an only child. This is your mechanism. This is your psychological mechanism as an only child, is to process your stuff internally. At least that was my choice anyway. And C3MD and my involvement, sometimes it was the work, it was the accounting, it was figuring out who paid us $50 back in March. And sometimes it was drilling down on the principles of conscious capitalism. The second thing I'd like to point out, survival, is I have a lovely wife, and she's been here, she's been with me, and she helped me to survive this mess. I don't know exactly what the importance of touch is in everyone's life, but in mine, it's actually quite high, I'll admit to that. And that was definitely a help. And third, of course, is my business. I mean, being distracted with a few hundred people's tax returns and investments and all that wonderful fun stuff has kept me more than busy. I'm going to actually even say the one thing I think that might have helped is probably a really good business coach to keep me on schedule, because that's the biggest thing I've struggled with over the whole, I guess it's 11 months now, is, well, I guess you can knock out January and February, but definitely it's helped me, caused me to lose track of schedules. And I'm not good at that to begin with. It's not my strength. My strength is analysis. My strength is drilling down on details and trying to make sense out of that stuff. But that's what has kept me busy. Thankfully, I've had Zoom and Teams and all the rest of it, and have had interaction with friends and family on a periodic basis. And last but not least, I'm going to say my neighbors. I live in a little townhome community here in Columbia. And neighbors mean a whole lot more in a townhome community versus a community that's way more spread out, because in 2 steps you're there. You can't avoid these people. And thankfully, the people shouldn't be avoided. They've been a blessing. And I'm one that believes in counting such things, even if they don't have a dollar value.
That's lovely, Kevin. You checked a lot of boxes there. Thank you for sharing. Anyone have something to add to Kevin's share? No? All right. All right, Mr. Massey, you were warned as well in advance.
I was nervous about going first, and now that I've got to follow Kevin, I'm more nervous now.
You should be.
You checked a lot of boxes, and I would say that many of those were similar, right? So I'll start in reverse order, right? So we had some really great neighbors that we've become really tight with. I have a young daughter, they have a young daughter, and our kids were best friends before, but through all of this became like lifelong best friends, I'm sure. And it was really great to have my daughter home for 7 months and just like get to hang out with her every single day. It was also exceptionally hard to have my daughter home every single day for 7 months, and try to balance between, being an individual, being a husband, being a team member of a company, and trying to be the best dad that I can, right? So I'm really grateful for those neighbors, and I'm really sad because they bought a house and moved about a month ago. And so I've been really feeling that loss, right, now that they're not here. So I'm really grateful for my team. They've really helped get me through, and we've had a lot of trials and tribulations. We've had to accelerate our plans for the year. A lot of the things that we were going to do didn't work out, and so we had to kind of pivot and change. And I'm really grateful that I have a team that was along for that ride and really embraces that idea of control what you can and flow with the rest, which is maybe my motto for 2020. I think one of the big things that we've really integrated into our life that's helped, we had done this as a business for every week, we have like a weekly stand-up meeting, and the first question of the week is always, what are you grateful for? And so that's kind of how we start our week. And it's something that I've done at home a lot more during this period as well, right? So I'm a big fan of gratitude, and we have a thing that hangs in our house that says gratitude transforms life into paradise. And you know, it's one of those kind of principles that we just fell in love with. And so I often will ask my daughter before we go to bed for her to like tell us something that she's grateful for. And that's just kind of like then sparked that conversation between my wife and I, and trying to find that silver lining and that gratitude during all of this has just, you know, been really a blessing for us. So that would be my encouragement, is if that is not a practice that is in your regular kind of day, right? Like take a pause, take a beat, and just try to think about what it is that you are grateful for, right? Because it doesn't have to be this grandiose thing. It can just be like, I am grateful for coffee. I am grateful for sweatpants, right? Like whatever it is, it doesn't matter. So
Josh,
cool.
that's a beautiful sentiment, and what a wonderful lesson to teach your daughter at such an early age. Hopefully she incorporates that as she grows older.
Absolutely.
I have a plaque in my kitchen that says normal is just a setting on a dryer. So kind of the same thing,
Yeah.
but not. Also
Yeah.
grateful for sweatpants. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm happy to, see a hand raise if a volunteer would like to go next. Otherwise, I am going to start picking on the board members. All right, Ebony, Presidente.
All righty. So I have to take a breath. 2020, what I hear a lot of people saying is, I can't wait until 2021. 2020 was X, named the negative adjective. And for me, I can only summarize 2020 by saying that I spent a lot of 2020 reminding myself or finding ways to be reminded or needing to be reminded that there are actually good people in the world. 2020 was a hard year. 2020 was, for me personally, a year where a lot of things that I've known showed up. So there weren't many surprises, but the intensity around some of the events that I saw, things I heard, certain things that I heard, spurred in me the need to be reminded that there are actually good people in the world. And so in 2020, I found myself doing a few things to remind myself of that and to help me work my way through everything that was coming up for me. And having goals, many of you know I'm writing a book. I'm also working a 9 to 5, which is sometimes more like a 9 to 9 or 9 to 11 or something. But having those goals, being grateful for having income coming in, I didn't take lightly this year when so many people were suffering. And so I'm grateful for that. But I also am grateful because it helped me to stay present. Having goals and remembering that we need to keep moving forward. We need to plan for the next board meeting. We need to plan for the next event. I have to talk to my publisher. All these things help me to be present, which leads me to journaling. And I don't have my journal in front of me. I probably have gone through about 3 journals this year. But even taking time, even if it's once a week, even if for some people it's every day, sometimes it's throughout the day, journaling. And taking time to just let my thoughts flow onto the paper, whatever they are, so that I can clear out the gunk and get to what really matters, or so that I can be more centered in the day. And that's something, that's a practice that, I share with all of you. Just grab a piece of paper and just start writing. There's a technique called conscious free flow. There are kind of different names for it. There's a book called The Artist's Way that I read 20 plus years ago. And I still use the notion of opening up 3 pages and just writing, free flow, no editing, just write. And it is amazing how that simple act can make a big difference in my day. And I'm sure in your day too, if you do that. And then finally, the last thing that I would say is I can't stress the need for community in 2020 and moving forward. If 2020 has shown us anything, it is that as a human race, we need to work together. We need to establish positive, effective communities that are heart-centered around the world. And so I'm happy to connect with this community. You guys are part of my community. You're part of my circle. My work community, many times I actually stop myself and think about the people on my team at work, the CEO at my company as family, right? We say that all the time. We're friends and family here. But I also want to give some thanks to an international community that I'm a part of, that I've learned from for 20 plus years, just about how to show up and be in the world. And this community is a community called Ilha Olodumare in Brazil. And since the beginning of the pandemic, we have gotten together to gather, to pray, or to learn from each other every single day since the beginning of the pandemic. And it is one of the things that has really gotten me through this time. We've come together, we've talked, we've bowed our heads, we've cried, and we've laughed. And it has been such an amazing experience. And so without all of those experiences together, I'm not sure what I would have done this year. And I have to say that throughout the year, because of the communities that I've been a part of, that has been my reminder of the good people that are around. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for all of you.
Thank you, Ebony. Beautiful sentiment as always. You're just so thoughtful, really. And, here I had a book and a cat. I'm starting to feel like I want a do-over. So thank you for sharing. I want to mix it up a little bit. We have a new member joining us today. Buffy, how are you? Are you ready to share?
Sure. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Hi. I am Buffy Beaudoin Schwartz, and I'm a new member with the organization that I'm the executive director of, the Women's Giving Circle of Howard County. But I have been to at least one other Conscious Cocktail, a couple in-person meetings, and I've been to several Ignites in the past as well. So have a little bit of a history with Conscious Capital. So it's good to see everyone. What a nice question to ask. I think that I have found through this past year that I am probably holding on more tightly to the things that I have always surrounded myself with in a normal time period. So first would be my family. I have 4 kids, 2 of whom live at home with us. So my husband and I both work full time and have a daughter in middle school and a daughter in high school. So that's been interesting, all of us together every day. And then we have 2 kids who have already graduated from college. One of whom just got engaged this past weekend, so we're very excited. And the other who had a new baby right before we all got stayed in our houses with COVID, and who is pregnant again. So we have another granddaughter coming in a couple of months. So family's been very important as we've all been together, and we've been holding on, as tightly as we can. The second thing I would say is work. Again, the Women's Giving Circle of Howard County has been something that's been important to me since it launched 18 years ago. I was one of the founders and a past chair, and I'm honored to now be our first executive director. So work has been really busy this last year, and that's been something that's both kept me busy, but also been really important because we have frankly done a lot of good work in the community, funding programs that benefit women and girls and benefit our community. And we've partnered with the Community Foundation, Horizon Foundation, and United Way, and given out over $600,000 since May, since we started something called HOCO Respond to our nonprofit partners in the community trying to respond to COVID-19. So that's been, again, challenging, but very meaningful work. So that's been great. And really the last thing has been, frankly, my Peloton bike. It is something that I have I got it last September, so I've had it for about 14 months, but I don't know what I would have done without it the last 8 or 9 months, and have ended up riding, I think, just this year alone, like over 5,000 minutes and 400 rides and, things like that. So it's definitely kept me going in a weird way. And if anyone knows the Peloton community, it's a great community to be a part of. It's kind of live bike riding and stuff like that. So you get to actually be with other people that way.
Buffy, that is so impressive. I will say that any type of exercise has not been on my list at all since March. Need to get back in there and do that. Thank you for sharing so
Sure.
much. We love the Women's Giving Circle. You all do very important work.
Thank
So
you.
excellent report.
Thank you.
Do we have a volunteer, or are we going to do another? Yep. Okay, I think I would like to move down to Liz Richardson. How are you, Liz? I never have this kind of
Okay.
power.
Can you hear me now? Okay. So I have a few things, which some are professional and some are personal. So on a personal level, Matt, my husband, and also business partner. So from a business and personal level, he has been a huge part in helping me throughout this time. But the other important figure in my life is, I don't know if you'll be able to see this very well. It is my dog, Pete. I don't know if you could see it, but he's a chocolate lab mix, kind of, something. But he and I enjoy taking walks in the Patapsco Valley State Parks. I printed out this map as my show and tell area near our house where we like to hike. We do that just about every weekend, and when it was daylight after work, so not as many now that it's dark outside, but that has been a huge thing for me, just being outside. But on a sort of professional level, you guys are getting a little sneak preview of our company holiday card we're going to be sending out. And for the past few years, we've kind of done a synopsis of what kind of key events that have happened within the company, some of them just fun things for the team. But our card, one of the very first things that is written here, I'm going to read this part right here. It says, Friday, March 13th. Our entire team attends a leadership workshop to help us think outside the box and problem solve, unaware that the very next day would begin the biggest real-life problem-solving exercise in company history. So, not gonna lie, this year has been the hardest year for our company since the first year we ever began in 2003. And what has been really great is watching the people on our team develop and step up their leadership, and just watching everybody develop and grow has been not only essential for our survival, but also it's what gives me hope that we can have a better future. And So that has definitely been huge for me. The other thing is reading. Like Tracy, I like to read. And there's a particular book that I'm reading for maybe the third or fourth time, but it's something that helps me professionally, and it is called The Fifth Discipline by Peter Senge. If you've never read it, highly recommend it. It was written a long, long, long time ago, but it's still just as relevant today as ever. And I'm actually reading that with a handful of our team members. We've been doing it together in book club fashion. And that has been a tremendous experience doing that with them. And that's probably it in a nutshell. I'll leave it there.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Liz. If you wouldn't mind putting that book, name of the book in the chat, I think a lot of us
Yep.
would be interested in reading that. Quick drive by. Also, I love Twitter, the nice Twitter, and El Dodo or The Dodo is a great Twitter site to see wonderful, heartwarming short movies about animal rescue and all kinds of animals. So definitely check that out. Hi, Danielle. You joined us a little, I guess, by phone, and now you're here. It's so wonderful to see your face. Would you like to join in sharing with us?
Sure. Thank you, everyone. I say thank you in particular because in terms of what got me through this year, you just allowed me to do it. I was taking a walk, which was why I called in. With the sun setting a little bit earlier now, I have to meet a 4 o'clock deadline to get out the door. This year has been interesting and wonderfully difficult. And for those of you who know me on a more personal level, like some of the things that I have gone through from the deaths of family members to loss of income at a certain point, it's been really challenging. But I'm grateful in the middle of all of this because, and I'll dare to even say I'm grateful for COVID right now. Because without this particular moment in time, there are some things that I won't say I would not have realized, but may have been a longer time in the making than what they ended up being. And so the first gift of COVID for me was time. There have been so many points in my life where I have said, if only I had just a little bit more time to do, to read, to connect with friends, to do whatever, fill in the blank. The gift came in being home, right? Not having to make that commute to work. Being able to literally be here. I have read tons. I'm a big audiobook listener. I'm thinking the library is going to revoke my card soon because I keep requesting something every day. And I appreciate family in this moment and the time with them. So again, I think Josh said this, but being able to be home with my daughter, it is wonderful. It is challenging, but it is also, I think, raising my skill level as a parent to be able to navigate this myself, but then also to support someone else in navigating COVID. I am appreciative of connection. And again, another gift of COVID. I'm connecting with people I haven't talked to in years. That I keep saying they're on my list. If only again I had more time to connect with them, I would make those calls. And now I'm finding myself in a place where even if it's a simple text message, just to let somebody know, hey, I'm thinking about you. How are your kids? How's the family doing? It has brought such a gift back into my life, and I think an appreciation of relationships I had lost in the shuffle of just being busy. Now, on a deeply personal level, COVID forced me out of my comfort zone. Like, not gradually, it totally tossed me in the water. It was just like, hey, you don't have a job anymore. You got to figure this out. And as a result of that, it allowed me to pursue my dreams. So again, in being able to confront this head on, it's sort of that sink or swim moment. And I decided, well, what's that statement they say, what would you do if you, or the question, what would you do if you couldn't fail? When you don't have a job anymore, there's not much you're worried about in that front. It was literally like, let's go for it. This is my moment. And it deeply I think made me focus on my values because this was such a difficult year and certain things. And I think, Ebony, you were saying this in the beginning, there are certain truths that I knew all along, and we've been confronted with them and slapped in the face. And I think on one level that was hard to accept, but yet I knew it to be true. And so it made me double down on the things that I value and what I believe in and what I'm willing to stand up for and speak out on. And that's been a gift in itself because the fear has been removed from engaging in these conversations and moving certain things forward. And then the last thing that I would just offer up is it has certainly put me in a place of thinking about my legacy. What do I want my time on this earth to be about? How am I serving? Who am I serving? Am I serving myself in this moment? And so it just is a profound moment, I think, in time. And while I too would love for this period to pass, I feel like I have learned many lessons. I am grateful for the opportunity to have walked through and continue to walk through this.
Wow, Danielle, every time you speak, and I've heard you speak on several occasions, I get chills. And I think Wendy noted in the chat, it's just powerful, always motivating. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
I have no funny things to say. It just was beautiful, beautiful. Just want to keep a look at the time. We do have a very special video to share at the end of today's program. You're welcome to stay on and tune in to that. It's our highlight reel for 2020. But I want to keep going with stories. I would rather hear the stories right now. I'm going to wave my magic wand, and Shelley, I'm looking at you. Are you ready? Would you like to share?
Yeah, I can share. So I'll actually go, and everything everyone's shared is beautiful. It's really nice to hear, and I share many of the same sentiments and ways of taking care of myself as well over this time. So I'll share professionally. So like I mentioned in the chat, I work at an international development organization, and we went to work from home pretty quickly in March, and I was put on our COVID task force. Duty of care is a really important element in international development, and we were scrambling like mad to ensure safety of our staff overseas, to bring home expats as airports were closing and borders were closing, and to make decisions about where third country nationals were safer in their location or going home. So we were doing all this, and it gave me a sense of purpose. So that was really nice at the beginning, as everything was just so uncertain and unknown. And it was actually really nice to be feeling as though I was able to do something for our staff and for our organization. So being a part of that group, which is still, of course, still meeting because we're still in COVID, was really nice. And then just the other element, I think professionally, it's always humbling to know that as bad as the US is right now, how terrible the conditions are in other countries. So I think for me, it's also just a way to remind myself as I'm, as everyone else is, struggling this year with the whole bunch of different issues. It's just really humbling to remember how actually very, very lucky I am, and how much I really do have to be grateful for. So yeah, and then the final thing I'll say professionally is that I've also been really humbled by the generosity of people in the midst of everything. We have had record giving from individuals, and it's just incredible that people are willing to give right now, because I'm sure even if people didn't lose their incomes or their jobs, I'm sure it would be easy to turn in, right, and to try to protect your bank account right now. So it's really great to see that people still care, even when, again, things are bad in our own country, and for them to be willing to give to others is really good. So thanks for letting me share that, and thanks for having me today.
You're here, Shelley, on all accounts. Really, it's interesting the different kinds of, we'll go back to Danielle as well, the legacies and the new habits that we've created that now are second nature for us, and especially how the community has responded to what everyone's going through. Really, really important stuff. So do I have a volunteer? I know Tanya disappeared. How timely. Wendy Muma, how are you doing today? Are you ready?
Wow, so many people to follow and so interesting to listen to your stories. So I'm going to be quick because I want to see the video. I have appreciated the rapid pace at which we have slowed down. And I have found that the space has invited new ways of thinking and new ways of being for me. And I am thankful for my mom, who lived with me for 6 months before she went back to Florida. 85 years old. Live it up, Mom. She lost 80 cents last week. I told her not to spend her whole estate on her poker game. I have adult children at home, 18 and over, and it's been unique to watch them learn in this space when they would otherwise be doing it outside my awareness. So I'm watching them go like, wow, you do all those things, or wow, we're making choices like this, or it's just interesting to watch them think like I'll give you an example. One of them said, you mean you have been buying gifts for your stocking for the last 17 years? And watching her think about, like, I'm the adult now, and now I'm looking back, and so it's like a boomerang in some ways. And some of that, most of the time, that would happen outside my awareness. So it's been fun to watch those micro shifts inside. And I have noticed how the pandemic was just determined to keep us all separate, and how Zoom has invited me to expand my community beyond my country into other countries and other continents. I was just on a call this morning with some colleagues that I've been with since March, just in conversation, and I'll meet up with another one from Hong Kong. So there are 2 in Europe and Hong Kong, and we've been talking about every question. Everyone can answer the question, how does COVID affect you? No matter where you are in the world. It's fascinating to hear how somebody from Italy is handling it, from somebody from France, and how the different communities are managing it. So that's been a real gift. And I had a family Zoom call the other night that would be family reunion style, with family from Singapore and family from all over the country, and mixed generations. And we're looking at these pictures from like 1952. And we would have never done that prior.
Wow.
So it's been a gift. Thank you.
Lovely global perspective too. I mean, fascinating. And was it your mother or your grandmother, Wendy? She sounds awesome.
It's my mom. 85,
Terrific.
man. Live it up. Don't wait till the end of COVID. Gotta live.
Cheers to that, everyone. So, Tanya, dear, you're back. Would you like to share?
Oh, I don't know. Is everyone else gone? Wendy, Baird, did you have something?
We have a couple left: Sandy, Nastasha, Wendy, and yourself.
Sandy, would you like to go?
Sure, happy to. Hi, everyone. If you don't know me, I am the secretary here at C3MD. Happy to be involved tonight. Listening to all of your stories is so frankly inspiring to know that you all have honestly been experiencing the same thing that I have. I find myself looking for the silver lining in this whole thing as well. Of course, you never want ill will upon anyone or anything going on in the world, but there certainly have been gifts that have come out of this. I have 6 kids, so our house has been very busy through this whole situation. This is the 1 year where all of my kids are in school from kindergarten up through being a senior. So we've had 8 people on Zoom at any one time in our household for the last, 4 months, and it's truly a chaotic zoo during the day. In my house during Zoom calls, hearing, kindergarten music going on in the next room over, and trying to focus on work, which I'm so grateful that has kept me busy. Family members, my parents live with us. They moved in just before COVID occurred, and they got their condo sold right before everything happened. So there's so many things that happened this year that we're grateful for and don't want to be forgotten, like you all had said. But the one thing for me that I think really got me through was being outside. And we kind of tried to stay outside as much as we could instead of being, in these like 4 walls. From walking daily with my neighbor across the street, which we're still trying to do when it's cold out, to going camping and finding new places to disappear to in the woods, to going tubing instead of going to the community pool, which was open, but we just didn't feel comfortable going there. So we got into rubber tubes and tubed down the local creeks here in the area in Maryland, and really discovered the outdoors. And it really, for me, brought a sense of peace and allowed me to, take a breath in those moments when, frankly, the world around us is so chaotic. So being outside for me was what has gotten me through.
Sandy, thank you so much. And just for the rest of you, I have had the pleasure of being in Sandy's home. We traveled together to DC last January for the Conscious Capitalism event, and it is a busy, happy haven of love. But I clearly understand why sometimes you just want to go outside. I'm from a big family too. Thank you so much for sharing. Nastasha, how there would you like to share today?
Yes, mine is a perfect segue. First of all, hi everyone. Thank you all for sharing. It's been great. But one thing that's helped me that I would like to share is hiking. So it's a perfect segue from Sandy and also Liz. And I do have some pictures, just a couple. I don't want to take up too much time. If I go there, did it present with you guys? No, let me try again.
It had worked.
We saw a picture.
There? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I've always liked hiking, and I've done it occasionally, but especially right at the beginning of quarantine in March and April, we were going like every weekend, I think, like Sandy was saying. But just a couple pictures I wanted to share. So this is of Patapsco Valley State Park and one of my favorite trails. It's called Soapstone, and it's actually right in Catonsville. And it's beautiful. Obviously, this one was back in the summer. It's not as green anymore. Let me go to the next one. This one is also part of that trail. It's all in Patapsco Valley State Park, this one and the last one. Just a segue off of that one, I think it's called the Bull Run Trail. Again, it's just very peaceful and awesome to get outside, get exercise, take my mind off of things that are going on with COVID. And then this one's from Blackwater National Wildlife Refuge, and it's a little bit further away for those of us who are closer to Ellicott City, Baltimore area. It's across the Bay Bridge, but it's an awesome place to explore. You see wildlife, you can go biking, all sorts of paths and trails to go adventure on. This one is at Liberty Reserve, and this one was just at the start of fall, so you can see some of the leaves are changing and all. So that one is really beautiful with the water and that whole landscape. And then my last picture there we go. This one is also Patapsco Valley State Park, but this one is in Sykesville. So again, a little bit further. But this one was awesome. You get to walk right along the water, and you know, I think the railroad tracks are on that side there, that right side. You can kind of see them, but it's really cool and awesome space. And it's just been, like I said, a great way for me to escape, take my mind off of things, and take a breath. So yeah, that's been something that's really helped me, and it's great exercise and fun. So yeah.
Thank you. And you're an excellent photographer as well.
Just my
Absolutely. And I
iPhone,
think
but
I
thank
saw
you.
I saw Liz and her dog in one of those pictures, I think. And then Josh was waving from his backyard, it looks like. So I wanted to figure out, like, for the end of our show today, I thought we could move over to Wendy Baird. She has a special treat. And then Tanya, if you would like to share, we'll close out the program with you and go right into our membership reminder and then the highlight reel. So how does that sound?
Woo woo.
Good? I never get to be bossy. I'm really enjoying this.
She's taking charge. So here's my show and tell. This is Oliver, and he's a foster that I found during COVID in May. I was all by myself. So I had been in a relationship the previous year, broke up with that person. My dog died in August of 2019, Bella. And I was kind of all alone during COVID. I had a chance to do some traveling, which was awesome. And same with whoever said March 13th. It was Liz. That date is still on our office wall as the last day we were in the office. But I had just come back from a trip to Costa Rica, which was beautiful, life-changing, incredible, meditative. I got to sing there. I'm a singer and I'm also a Reiki master. So like I combined all the things that I loved in my life and then came back to, wow, here I am alone in this house. And so I always say that when Oliver found me, this is Oliver, it was so nice to have another heartbeat in the house. And he just comes with me everywhere and he's such a sweetheart. So the other thing that really has saved me through COVID, walking, being outside, but meditation is big for me. I think I've been meditating for something like 950 consecutive days, and it's way more. I use the Insight app timer, but early in COVID, I created an outdoor meditation space on my deck in the backyard with my Buddha, and I painted mandalas on my deck, and it was just this beautiful outdoor sanctuary, and I have one inside. So it was just kind of, taking claim of spaces that I never really used again. And so loved that. And talk about the blessings in COVID. There are many. I'm so grateful for my team. I'm really grateful for C3MD. This has just been a lovely time. I enjoy the people that we get to work with. And I was going to sing for you, but we'll save that for next time because we're running out of time. But that's the one thing that's been getting me through. I do a lot of singing for my church and for other organizations. So this little a cappella app is really cool. You can put 10 of your voice on. It's really neat.
That's great. Thank you, Wendy. I have benefited not only from her backyard, but from her Reiki and the friendliness of her new dog. So trifecta. Well done. Well done. So I'm looking at the time. We're at 5, but if you can hang in there for a few more minutes, Tanya, I'm going to throw it over to you.
Okay.
Whatever you want to do.
Yep, I can keep it pretty brief. So I've really enjoyed listening to what everyone has had to say. This has been a great event. For myself, I have been relying on the 3 W's: work, walking, and watching Netflix. So I've really thrown myself into work. It's been crazy busy at my job. It's a 3-person firm. We just added a new person providing financial advice to people who are very concerned about their retirement and how they're going to sustain themselves during this time. Walking every day, alternating, taking long walks with either my 13-year-old or 15-year-old, and getting to have conversations I don't think I would have had any other way. And then I think watching Netflix speaks for itself. I haven't been reading as much as I wanted, but one thing that I have found is the app Audible, and I've been just listening to books while I clean the kitchen and do things like that, and that has been excellent. a great saver. And so right before the highlight reel go, let me just remind you that if you have any questions about membership, we're looking forward to having a great 2021. We're hoping to do something with Women's Giving Circle, doing a lot with, as I told you before, January 19th, looking forward to hearing from Danielle Marshall and Wendy Muma, and have a lot of other great things planned. If you can kind of keep the third Tuesday of every month free for either your Conscious Coffee or Conscious Cocktail, that'd be super. So
Great.
thanks for all for coming.
Thanks, Tanya. And now Sandy's going to get us set up with our highlight